My name is Tyler, and this is my ENME 351 final project. So for my project, I made a Skittles sorter, and first off, the Skittles are dropped into the funnel so they can all stack up one at a time. They then get deposited into a slot on a moving disc, and then after they are deposited, a color reading is being taken constantly on the disc, and when it senses a color from the RGB sensor, when the Skittle passes under it, it'll activate the servo to a certain position. Here it just read the red Skittles, so the servo gets moved to the box containing the red Skittles. Now let's look at this process one more time. So here we can see the orange Skittle gets deposited into the slot. It gets read by the color sensor, and the servo will move to a corresponding position after it gets read, and then it'll be deposited through the front slot down the slide into the box. So to move the disc, I used a stepper motor rotating in 10-degree increments, and you can see in the back the color sensor taking a reading in between each of these increments. As for the actuator, it's as I explained before, it's a servo moving a slide over a box depending on the color that the color sensor reads. Next, I'll show a quick demo of the processing output. So the processing is just a counter of all the colors of the Skittles. I have a visual representation of each Skittle above the counter, as well as a total counter at the top right, total number of Skittles scanned, and the current percentages of each color below the counter. So now the Skittle just got deposited. It's a purple Skittle. It got scanned, it moves it, and it increments on the counter as you can see. And next I'll show a full demonstration of the entire sorting process sped up. While the sorter is going in the background, I'll just touch on a few things with my code as well as some of the major roadblocks I faced. So for my sorter, I'm using the TCS3475 Adafruit RGB color sensor, and to collect data using the sensor, I use the library provided by Arduino and Adafruit, and it basically just returns me 3 numbers corresponding to red, green, and blue values. I then just collected a bunch of data with the colors and Skittles and made a series of if statements to then sort them based on their RGB values. The first issue I ran into was that the servo motor I was using to move the disc to collect, sense, and dispense positions did not have enough torque in my setup, and it would keep stalling. So I ended up switching to a stepper motor, and I operated it at a somewhat low speed so it would have greater torque and not stall out. And since the stepper motor doesn't know its absolute position, I had to have the color sensor go off during every increment, and I had to make the increment every 10 degrees instead of just when the Skittle was under it. And this ended up working pretty well, and the only bad thing is that it sorts pretty slowly. And another problem that arose due to this was that I was getting extra purple readings when it half scanned red, yellow, or orange Skittles. And to work around this, I had to implement timers to check if a color was read really quickly after another, and then I acted accordingly to these timers. Overall though, the sorting machine ended up working very well, and I had a lot of fun making it, and I definitely wouldn't have been able to do something like this before I took the class.